I encourage people to start close to the action. What I mean by that is, what is the main point? What is it you're trying to talk about? Where is the action happening? And start there. I call this the Star Trek Open. Because remember in the old Star Trek with Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner, they would be flying through the galaxies and flying through the universe and flying through all the planets. And they would beam down. And where would they beam down? They would beam down exactly where the action was. And that's the best way to start our presentations. Beam down exactly where the action is. Now, a lot of times in one-on-ones or small groups, I'll have people write out their entire presentation. And what we can do is we can take a pair of scissors and chop the first 4 or 5 paragraphs off of that presentation, and it makes it a better presentation. Because a lot of times they have a lot of build-up before they get to the action. I'm watching a TED Talk the other day. And the TED Talk was by somebody who was on the plane that landed in the Hudson. You remember the story, right? The airplane takes off, has an immediate problem. The pilot swings around hoping to land, but realizes he has to ditch in the Hudson. And he was such a remarkable pilot that nobody got hurt, nobody died. But this was a passenger on that plane. So he's got a TED Talk, and I just want to show you his first line was, when we reached 3,000 feet, we heard a loud explosion. Second line, I was one of the few passengers who could see the flight attendants' faces. Third line, and they were terrified. In 3 lines, he's already wrapped it up. He's already made us sit forward and have to listen. Don't you want to hear the rest of that story? Absolutely. That's because he starts close to the action. So often we see the first paragraph or 2 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs just really nonsense that doesn't move your story ahead. Well, thank you, Martha, for having me here, and thank you, Diane, for inviting me. It's always good to see you, and oh, look at this weather. And what about that football game? Did you all watch that football game? And you're spending a paragraph or 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs, and you still haven't done anything of substance. Start close to the action. Start as close as you can. Remove all the stuff at the beginning that doesn't invite us in and get us hooked.